Waiting. It's checking the stream health right now. Checking, testing, 1, 2, 3. It says we're going live, but it's also saying it's checking the stream health. I'm going to assume the health of the stream is all right. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks for checking out the TheButtpod. If you're here live, bless your heart. Thanks for checking it out live. If you're watching this later in the replay, like we're live right now, I don't know how to explain to you the difference between live now and replay later, because the replay you're watching is me talking live now. You get what I mean. If you're just checking it out in the playback, thanks a lot. Thanks for checking things out. We're going to get going here in a couple minutes. These live streams, I always take a little bit of a preamble to give people time to join the stream. I'm going to see, and I'm also testing to see how I can go about best monitoring the live stream chat while also monitoring everything that's going on in the OBS. You know what I'm saying? The OBS is a software I use to live stream. And I'm going to see what's the easiest way for me to get the chat window up and running. Because usually what we do here, it's mostly Q&A. I'm going to be doing maybe a half hour, maybe 40 minutes, something like that. We have to head out to see Nancy's mom today. So, because I wasn't thinking when I planned doing this today, we might have 4 people show up because it's Mother's Day. So people have plans, brunches and lunches and just visiting. Very few people, I think, are going to say, hey, Mom, let's fire up the old YouTube and watch the ButtPod live. Because that's what mothers love. So, yeah, and also Canada is playing England today in the World Hockey. I'm not watching it because I'm going to go ahead and assume Canada beats England. If Canada can't beat England, because it's kind of our thing. It's what we're known for, really, is the hockey, or as they say in other countries, ice hockey. If we can't beat England, then I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch Canada losing to England at hockey. I'm fine with us losing to England in soccer or football, as they call it, rugby, cricket. Absolutely, clean our clocks at cricket all day long. I'll watch that. I'll just be proud that we showed up and have clean sweaters. Why do I always wear sweaters in cricket? It's seen as a hot summer day. They're in a wool sweater. It's white, so it's reflecting of the sun, but still, it's a wool sweater. Anyway, let me see if I can get to how can I get to where the live chat stream window is? I have a little setup here going on today that's different than I had before. I'm trying to pull up the live stream chat on my YouTube channel. On my iPad, which is here in front of me. Let's see if I can find the live chat. It says 60 people are watching, but I'm unable to, as we where we are right here and now, I can't see the chat stream window. This will all get ironed out. It always gets ironed out. I'm as sharp as a bag of pudding, so it always takes me a few minutes to figure out what exactly is going on and where I can find the chat window. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna start the timer once we're actually rolling, right? Now my iPad is frozen up too. The picture isn't even, so I don't think the iPad thing is going to work very well. Closing out of there for now. I'm going to do like I did last time and just see if I can see the live stream. Here it is. See, this is the best way to do it. I'll mute that so we're not hearing me twice. And this way I can monitor the live stream, your questions. I can see your questions now. So give me a quick, some of you have probably already sounded off. Not signed up. Well, some of you I'm sure have signed off. Let's dive into before we get into the questions, let me know where everybody's from. Let's do a quick check here. Somebody just said no holiday is more important than the ButtPod. Imagine if it was a national holiday. Wouldn't that be something? Live from Florida. We have somebody here live from Florida. Hello, LG. Let's see. Smallsville, Kansas. Isn't that's close to where Superman's from? He grew up in Smallville. This is Smallsville. You no, it does say Smallville. Smallville, Kansas. Yeah, so Superman is in the house. Massachusetts, Unity, Saskatchewan, Illinois, Edmonton, Idaho, Massachusetts, Illinois, Niagara, Saskatchewan, Georgetown, Kingston, Ontario, Kelowna, BC, Sarnia, Ontario, Moore, Iowa, Cochrane, Alberta, in all caps. Somebody's making sure we hear Cochrane, Alberta. All right, so I'm going to start the timer just so because I have a tendency to lose track of time. I'm starting the timer so I can always see where we're at, and we're going to commence right now with the live questions, the live Q&A. So fire away on the Q&A. Let's see. Who's up first? Hello, Ian. Ian is here from England. For those of you who don't know, Ian runs a dedicated Corner Gas blog from over there in the UK, from over there in England, cornergasfan.com. Check that out if you're a fan of Corner Gas. If anybody here who dropped in who doesn't know who I am, I'm a greasy nightclub comedian who started a TV show called Corner Gas, and it ran for years and was a big hit, and it's seen in over 60 countries now. And the live action is seen in 60 countries on Amazon Prime. Outside of Canada, it's on Amazon Prime. That's where you find it. If you're in Canada, you can watch it on Crave TV. So we did 107 episodes of the live action show, and then we did a movie. And then the movie was a great big hit, and so the network said, "Hey, let's do some more." We decided, listen, we're all tired. Let's do an animated version. Tried something different, and the animated version's been a big hit. Thank you for watching. Everybody who's watched the animated version. That's not available outside Canada yet, but we are working on it. Okay, so that's kind of who I am in a nutshell. Let's dive into some questions. Pardon me, I have to lean over to do questions. I have to lean in like this, so you get a good look at this profile while I'm leaning in. Let's say. Hi, Brent, says Reed Martin. What was it like to work with Mike OBrien on Corner Gas? It was fantastic. Mike OBrien, rest his soul, passed away, sadly, from cancer. He was a very funny dude. He was a writer. That's how I first crossed paths with him. He came in and kind of interned, wrote on a season of Corner Gas in the writer's room. But he was a very funny guy. We also cast him to play the part of Wes Humboldt, the guy on Corner Gas the guy in Dog River who owned the insurance company / liquor store. And he's a very funny guy, Wes OBrien. He was fun to work with. We could always rely on Wes to deliver funny lines funnily. He's one of the locals that we used a lot because we always knew if we have a particularly funny line that isn't one of our cast members, our main cast members, one of our main 8, then we want to give the funny line to somebody that we know could deliver. And, we just had a high level of confidence in Mike OBrien. Funny guy. And his wife, Robin, we got to do, she played Wes's widow because Wes, as I mentioned, passed away in real life. Mike OBrien passed away in real life. And so on the animated version, we had Robin play Robin. She was Wes's widow, and she came in and did the voiceover, and it was terrific. It was really fun and kind of strangely cathartic. Anyway, that's in an episode called Rum Punch from season 1. When if you're outside of Canada and you get a chance to see Corner Gas animated in the hopefully not too distant future, look for that episode, Rum Punch. Burke Bridgman says, "Hey Brent, do you have a personal favorite Corner Gas episode?" I get that question a lot. The answer kind of is no. I don't really have. Although I do tend to I'm fond of an episode called Kid Stuff, which is one of the ones that I wrote. And I like it because I feel that's maybe my best writing personally is in that episode. But I also like all the episodes where we see our main cast in different situations. Like when we saw them playing hockey in Face Off, or we saw them playing softball in the episode Slow Pitch, stuff like that. I enjoyed those episodes. But they all, it's hard to pick your favorite. Hard to pick a favorite. I also can't remember them all. I know I got a giant head, but I can't keep them all in there at all times. Let's see. Jube City says, a lot of non-Canadians hate corner gas. I don't know where you're getting that from, Jube, because the show is actually doing really well internationally. And I'm getting more. I now have, on this channel, on the ButtPod channel, I was looking at my analytics, I now have more subscribers from the US than I do from Canada. By the way, if you are here and you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to click the subscribe button. I only go live here so often. Usually it's pre-produced videos. I do a lot of videos of me on the road doing stand-up, as well as kind of behind-the-scenes stuff during production. The last video that I posted, actually, was inside the writer's room for Corner Gas, and man, that video has taken off. I never had a video get 3,000 views in like 5 or 6 days before, so that one really took off. People responded to that. A peek inside the writer's room. You can maybe I'll put that link in the description below for anybody who's watching this video after it's live. You know what I mean? All right. How long have we been going? I'm just keeping an eye on time as we go. So, yeah, see here, Pearl Schieffer says, Brooklyn, New York loves Corner Gas. Susie B says, I'm British. I love Corner Gas. See, so you're off the mark, Jube. You're here trying to spread dissent. I don't know why you'd want to be so divisive. I'm sure you have nothing but the best of intentions. But, okay, back to the questions. The Canadian Girl 4 asks, will you ever create a Corner G and the Rub mug for your fans? That references an episode where Brent and Lacey were, they decided to go in, jointly make mugs for their two businesses. It would say Corner Gas and the Ruby, and then there was a printing error. Part of it got cut off, so it just said Corner G and the Rub, which Brent decided would be his rap name. We did make some of those. I believe those do exist. I don't think they're for sale anymore, but I think we did make some of those. But yeah, those were... We get a lot of requests for those. I'm not sure who's doing our merch right now for Corner Gas, but I'll pass that word along, because I actually hear that from a lot of people. They like the Corner G and the Rub. I am thinking of doing merch for this channel, for the ButtPod channel. I talked about it a little bit, I think, in the last video. I'm trying to decide what... I would probably either do a coffee mug or a t-shirt, maybe both. But let me know... sound off quickly here, or if you're watching this later, leave me a comment down below what you would rather have. If you, and this is by no means a legal obligation. You're not, if you sound off, you're not obligated. This is not a contract. You do not have to get a piece of merch. But if you were going to, would you be more interested in a coffee mug that says The Butt Pod, or a t-shirt that says The Butt Pod? Or if you have other ideas, let me know what you're thinking. And I was thinking I would, because I don't do this as a money-making venture. I get paid to make the TV show. I'm not looking to turn my YouTube channel into a money-making venture. So I was thinking I would do the merch to get the word out about the ButtPod channel, and maybe to raise money for various charities. So anyway, let me know if you're interested in that kind of thing and what you would like. A mug, or, somebody says a ball cap, right? Somebody says both. See, I don't know. I'm not a merch machine myself. Maybe I could job it out to a company. But, yeah. T-shirt, mug, cap, ball cap. Getting a lot of reaction from all those things. Murray Harrison says, I'd like to get a Brent shirt as seen on the show. Yeah, his work shirt. Those are for sale. And I know that the production, because the production just asked me if I had my old shirt they wanted to get the measurements from, because they're giving it to a company to make some more of those. So at some point, you'll be able, if you go to cornergas.com, you'll be able to, some point in the near future, get those blue work shirts like I wore on the show, as well as other merch there. Woolerton Rocks shirt, and then there'd be you have to draw some spit on it. Mental Block says, one of my favorite parts of the ButtPod is when Nancy cries about things, like Charles Dickens dying. Yeah, that always cracks me up. That was actually the first one of those that we did. She just kind of came up with that idea when I'll link to that video down below too, in the descriptions down below. Nancy and I went to London We were on holiday, and one of the places we went was London, and we shot a video there. And we wanted to do the most British thing we could think of, so we got in a black cab and went to Charles Dickens' house. And that's where Nancy learned that Charles Dickens was dead. And so Nancy, for those of you who don't know, her background, she is a trained actor, of course, but she's also a fantastic improviser. She used to be an improviser with Vancouver Theatre Sports. She's just flat out, you can ask anybody, one of the best improvisers ever. You turn her loose with a couple of suggestions, you're going to get gold. And so anyway, she just improvised this whole thing about how she was sad to learn that Charles Dickens died, and it's probably the funniest part of the video. And she does another one when we went to New York. She does another, I call it the Teary Traveler. So she's going around places, finding out sad things, having her heart broken, and doing a little sad soliloquy, the Teary Traveler. So those are all here on the Butt Pod. You can always, if you subscribe, you can get those on a regular basis. All right, let's see. Bobble Heads. Adi says, Butt Pod Bobble Heads. What about Bobble Butts? That's something to think about. I don't know how you'd rig that up, but if you could have a little doll where the butt bobbles. People can't get over the fact that my last name is Butt sometimes. That's why I'm capitalizing on it here with the Butt Pod. I always envision people cruising through YouTube and they see the Butt Pod and they go, what the deuce is that? I got to see what that's about, right? They turn off their filters and cover their webcam and then click onto the Butt Pod. Reed Martin says, the cast of Corner Gas should do a stand-up tour. Well, I'm the only stand-up in the cast. I'm the only one who does stand-up. They're all very funny people, though. And we have in the past, I did a stand-up tour that also featured a couple guys who did stand-up friends of mine who I had on the show to do cameos. Peter Kalamas, who played the jerky comedian who came to town and stole Brent's material, and Jamie Hutchinson, who played the evil Rocket Ronnie Raymore in the hockey episode Face Off. So we went on a stand-up tour, and in each of the cities, we had one of the cast join me on stage for a little live Q&A with the audience, and that was fun. That's something that we could maybe do again, but it's hard to sync everybody's, they're all busy. They're not just sitting around waiting for me to, call them up to go do something. They're all out there working, making stuff happen. Elisa says, your dog in the background is adorable. He's oblivious and probably thinking, I'm trying to sleep. Well, here's the thing, Alyssa. I wonder if he is oblivious, because I got to tell you, this isn't where he normally sleeps. There's two sofas over here. I have a video on my channel here called My Studio Tour. You can see all the stuff that's in my studio here. It's really just a garage, but I like to tell people it's the 67th floor of Sparrow Media Towers. But anyway, there's two leather love seats over here, and that's normally where Oliver snoozes. But he's got some intrinsic sense. When he knows I'm filming something, he'll just flop down in shot. He does it all the time. It's amazing. Also, the other thing, when I'm doing the podcast, by the way, this all started with me doing an audio podcast, which is available at TheButtpod.com. It's also available on iTunes or Stitcher or, wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, it's available on Spotify, places like that. So check out the Butt Pod podcast. Although, I'll be honest, I haven't been very active in that because, like I said, I'm too busy doing the other stuff, and I got to schedule guests, and I'm on the road traveling and going out of town on business. And so it's been difficult for me to do the audio podcast. I think there's 13 episodes up there, though. If you're interested, go check those out. But when I'm doing the podcast, about 9 times throughout the podcast, I'll have to get up and let Oliver. He goes in and out all the time. I don't know if he's going anywhere now. He's got a good zonko going. He's zonked out there. But anyway, he is adorable. There's no getting around it. Pixel Guardian asks, do you think anyone would buy the Butt Pod air fresheners? I can only speak for myself. I would not. If I was out and about on my day and I saw wherever I was online or in a store, the Butt Pod air freshener, I probably would not. But, you might be onto something. Sometimes people can't stand not knowing, right? So there might be something there. Sociologically, psychologically, if people see something like that, the Butt Pod air freshener, they got to say, well, I got to at least, it's worth $2.40. I just strap that onto it right there, $2.40, to find out what that thing smells like. We won't do it in the car because there's a high risk factor with this. The stench may be overwhelming. And it'd be sad if it just smelled like me. That would be bothersome. Neil Moore says, any thought about doing a Saturday morning cartoon for kids fashioned after the Grumpaloos? The Grumpaloos, for those of you who don't know, after Corner Gas, the live action show aired. When it was done, after 6 seasons, I made another show called Hiccups, which starred Nancy as Millie Upton, a kind of an unhinged children's author. A children's author with emotional issues, which she called Hiccups. And her character, Millie, was a very popular children's author, and she wrote these books called The Grumpaloos, and we ended every episode with a little drawing of them, a little kind of something that Millie learned from that episode. Those were fun to do. And to answer your question, yes, we did think about doing that. We thought about, it comes down to, there's only so many hours in the day, and, my company, Sparrow Media, is not a big media conglomerate. I like to tell people otherwise if I'm trying to seem like a big shot in a meeting or something. But it's really just kind of me and a couple of people I job out to as we gear up to do different productions. So it's nothing I ever got around to doing. But to answer your question, yes, we did think about it. Let's see. Mary Lynn B. asks, have you ever worked with Shaun Majumder? I've done stand-up on the same show with Shaun Majumder a number of times. I'm a bit older than him. I came along a little ahead of him in the game, but I was still, a touring club comic when I met Shaun Majumder. And yeah, we were often on shows together. Back in the old days, I think we've maybe been involved in a couple fundraising events together since. We've never done anything on TV or film together, though. Greg Gallant says, think the Raptors take Game 7? Brent, I don't know. I don't know a thing about basketball. Basketball, that's the one where you bounce it, right? I just want to make sure I'm not talking through my hat here. It's the bouncing one, and then you throw it up at the thing. I don't know. I don't know anything about basketball, but I'm hopeful. I hope the Raptors. Tara Spencer Nairn, who played Karen on the show and who plays Karen in the Corner Gas animated, she's a big basketball fan. She's a big Toronto Raptors fan. So you'd have to ask her. You can follow her on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, by the way, or social media in general, Twitter and Instagram are the two places I hang out the most outside of YouTube here. So you can follow me there at Brent Butt. I also have a Facebook page. If you're a Facebook person, Official Brent Butt is what that one's called. But I don't really do a lot there. I don't hang out there. I don't seem to interact with people because I don't know what's going on with Facebook. I came to Facebook late in the day. So I was a slow adopter. I got on Facebook around 2016 or something like that. Timely. Surfing I'm on the cutting edge of every trend that comes down the pike. But I'm quite active on Twitter and Instagram. Although Twitter it's harder and harder for me to spend time on Twitter now because it's just such a schlemazel of cynicism and hatred and bile and, at times quite justified with what's going on in the world. But it's hard to just hear it all day long, So lately I've been distancing myself a bit, but I still, I'm on Twitter every day at some point. Pretty much every day. Same on Instagram too. So feel free to follow me at Brent Butt there. Let's see. More questions. Burke Bridgman, what's wrong with the Blue Jays right now? And again, no idea. I follow hockey. That's mainly what I'm interested in. My mother, speaking of Mother's Day, my mother, God rest her, she was a baseball fanatic. She knew more about baseball than almost anybody that I know personally. She'd talk about the players' ERAs and how many days rest they had. They got him on the mound too soon again. She knew all that, everybody's stats and everything. And she could watch 3 ball games back to back in a day. She would never get tired of watching baseball. In a perfect world for my mother, it'd be 2 baseball games, then curling would be on for a bit. then another baseball game, then some Tommy Hunter, and then end the day with some equestrian activity. She'll watch equestrian horse jumping. That would be my mother's ideal day. Let's see. The original Max G-Force says, do you do laundry on the road, or do you pack all of the clean clothes you need for your stand-up dates? I don't go on the road for huge, long lengths of time like I used to. So now I kind of just pack what I need for the few days. I usually go out for 3, 4, on occasion 5 days in a row, but that's pretty rare. I usually go out for 2 or 3 days that I'm home. I do a lot of overnight stuff. I'll go off and play a theater or do a corporate event and then back home the next day. So that's not an issue for me anymore. But in the old days, sometimes I would spend a month on the road, and then one time I went on the road, I thought I'm going to just bring enough for a month on the road, and it was terrible. It was a giant kind of hockey bag with wheels, And I was like, I'll never do that again. So yeah, in the old days, I would just you find a place to do laundry on a day off, or your show was always in the evening. So if you got into town early enough, you'd find a coin laundromat somewhere, or some hotels have laundry. You can go in and do it. So good practical question. One of the things I thought about doing was writing a book about things I've learned on the road, how to travel, how to pack, what to pack. Because I've been on the road over 30 years now. I started doing stand-up comedy in 88, so 31 years now I've been doing stand-up. JL says, do you fly coach? Not anymore. I have the means not to. Here's the thing. In Canada, when I travel, like flying business class is really quite expensive. It's prohibitively expensive. Domestically, I hardly ever fly business class unless usually somebody is flying me somewhere to do something, But WestJet has, and this is by no means, I'm not affiliated, I'm not getting no kickbacks, but they have the premium seating, which is not very expensive at all, and it's all you need. I mean, it gives you a little extra room. There's nobody crammed up right beside you. So I'll fly like that. I spent a lot of years crammed back in coach, and I was happy that, you hardly ever get a flight booked for you when you're starting out as a comic. You usually got to hop on a bus somewhere, and it's just a fist fight for 9 hours to get to wherever you're going, right? So any flight that I got in the old days was a welcome. Now I'm old and soft, and I've been spoiled, and I don't like to get crammed into places anymore. I think it's reasonable at a certain. If you're over 50, come on. I don't need a lot of leg room. I got Barney Rubble legs, but I'm thick. I don't like to have people crammed right on top of me. Let's see. Erin Cameron is a very funny dude. Says, I think Oliver's planning to steal a beer and is just playing the long game. Maybe. He's definitely a thinker. There's no doubt he's a sentient creature, that guy. Boy, when he looks at you, he's determining your weaknesses to use against you at a later date. No, he's nothing but love. Look at him down there. Just a big fuzzy ball of love. Let's see. Macy says, where's the best place you went for stand-up? It's different. There's no place that's just always consistently better than any other place. On any given night, a show can be fantastic or it can be real work. And I always say that once you get hundreds of individuals together in a room, it creates a brand new animal that has never existed before. And the animal doesn't know what it likes, doesn't know what it wants, doesn't know what it hates. It's all, you're kind of learning with it. So you go out, you talk, you gauge the reaction, you adjust your material accordingly. It's one of the things that makes stand-up fun for me. 31 years later, I still love standing in the wings waiting to go out and do the show, is the fact that you don't really know how it's going to go. You know how you're going to start your show, but you don't know how it's going to go. So, but having said that, I will say, in my experiences on the road, there's 2 cities, Winnipeg and Edmonton, that are very supportive of live performance, be it stand-up comedy or theater or live bands. There's something about those two places, Winnipeg and Edmonton, that I don't know if it's something culturally that is coaxed into the locals from an early age, but they tend to be very supportive of live events, live shows, whatever it is, a play or a comedy or like a band, like I said, whatever it is, improv night. Winnipeg and Edmonton are very, very supportive. Let's see. Who built, Burke Bridgman asks. Oh, there's another question from Burke Bridgman. Who built the accurate Dog River Lego Town? -1 shed. I couldn't tell you their names. It was a team of people who do this a lot. They create things with Lego. And we knew we needed this for this episode, so we hired them. And we just put them in one studio at the soundstage in Regina. They had a studio to themselves to just build this thing. I can't remember. It took a number of days, I believe. Couple days to build, but I couldn't tell you who they were. I couldn't tell you what their names were. Let's see. Todd Joachim says, did the cast ever drink real booze while filming corner gas scenes? I'm not at liberty to say, Todd, other than you're not supposed to legally do that, but I made a point of doing it at least once. And, listen, if they want to track me down now and throw a fine at me or something, I can always deny it. I can always say, well, that's something I just said for kicks on the YouTube. But, yeah, I enjoy a rye-based cocktail. You might be able to tell by all the brown liquor that's on the bar back there. Comedian Alicia Tobin was over here doing my podcast, and she said, look at all that brown liquor. There's a lot of brown liquor behind me. Barb Butler says, Regina loves you. Oh, that's very nice, Barb. I'm coming back to play Regina. I'm playing the casino. Tickets just went on sale this past week, I believe. I think just went on sale on Friday. Let me see. When am I going to be there? I think it's September. Casino Regina, September 21st. And I'm in Winnipeg at the casino there, September 22nd. So anyway, if you go to my website, brentbutt.com, you'll be able to see my live dates when the tickets become available. I don't think they're available. I don't think the link is on my site yet. I'll double check when all this is done. But if it's not there now, it'll probably be up Monday or Tuesday. But anyway, if you just go directly to the Casino Regina, their website, or call them up, and they have tickets there. I'm checking the timer. Oh, see, I have 12 minutes to go before we've got to wrap this up. Let's see. Murray Poole says, was Eric Peterson fun to work with? No, living nightmare, screaming hell to work with. No, of course, he was fantastic to work with. Everybody on the cast, I can just say, throw a wide net, everybody was fun to work with on the cast. What a great group of people. We were really blessed with the cast that we got. Lightning in a bottle we had there. But yeah, Eric's a ton of fun to work with. They were all fun. Like, they're not a jerk in the mix, That's pretty special. You don't have at least one person who's consistently an a-hole. That's maybe it was me. Maybe I gotta consider the fact that possibly it was me. But if I were, they never told me so. We always seemed to have a good time. But I quite enjoyed working with everybody on Corner Gas. And Eric was no exception. He was a ton of fun. He's very smart, sharp, funny guy. He struck me as a guy who's genuinely curious about things. So he could talk about anything, and everything to some degree. Anything he didn't know about, he would ask questions about. I'm very interested in those kinds of people. They're fun to be around. Let's see. Oh, we have over 100 people watching now, it says. Can you say hi to Nancy for me? I will do. I will say hi. Get Eric Peterson on the podcast. I would like to. He lives in Toronto, though, and I'm out here in Vancouver, so it's difficult. But I know I'm doing this. another one of the videos, I'll link to all these videos that I'm talking about in the description down below at some point. This should be in there. I shot a video of us doing the final voice record of 2018. The final voice record for Corner Gas Animated of the last year. That video is available. It's kind of fun. I shot everybody that was there. Nancy, normally, this was in Vancouver, at the studio there, Cosmic, where we do the voice record in Vancouver. Nancy wasn't there that day. She was off doing something else. So I'm going to go to Toronto and do another one of those videos, behind the scenes, looking at the cast recording their voiceover parts for the animated show. Nancy and I are going to be in Toronto for that one. So you can watch the Vancouver one. Like I said, I'll link to it in the description below. And coming up, so make sure that you subscribe here to the channel. And click the little bell notification too, so you don't miss anything. If you click the bell thing, you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. It'll come up on your phone or your computer or whatever. I will be recording another one of those behind the scenes in Toronto. Nancy and I will be at that one, along with Eric and Tara and Corinne, who plays Emma on the show. All right. Got time for one more question. We have a minute and... Do we? No. We have 9 minutes left. We can do a couple, 2 or 3 more questions, maybe. How fun was it to shoot the naked scenes? Not so much fun as, I mean, you have to do them very specifically. And, nobody's actually naked in the shooting of the naked scene. They're kind of different kind of body suits or whatever that cover. So it's very technical. The way you shoot it has to be very precise. So it's not like it's, hey, we're all freewheeling and hanging out. It's really quite a technical exercise. Let's see. Bowler Hat Dinosaur. That's a fantastic. I can't believe that was available. Bowler Hat Dinosaur asks, are you going to visit Dave and Graham in the near future? For those of you who don't know, Dave and Graham is Dave Shumka and Graham Clark, who have a very funny podcast that is far wide and reaching. They have a great podcast called Stop Podcasting Yourself. And I've been a guest on that a number of times. I don't have a plan to be on it as a guest there in the near future, but they call up every now and again. So anytime they ask, I'll be there. The question continues. I didn't know about Corner Gas until I looked you up after one of your guest appearances on Stop Podcasting Yourself. She says, I'm an American. Well, that's great. Getting the word out. See, what a time to be alive. You can sit down, do a little podcast, do a little video like this, get the word out. Spread the word. Tell your friends about this and about, if you're outside of Canada, let folks know that they can see the original Corner Gas, all 6 seasons, all 107 episodes on Amazon Prime. It's available on Amazon Prime outside Canada. All 6 seasons and the movie. Groovy that I changed angles here, right? For that, I'm using my webcam camera now for that. But anyway, tell your friends about watching Corner Gas, the original series that launched it all, and the movie on Amazon Prime outside Canada. Of course, if you're in Canada, you can see it. You can stream it on Crave TV. But it's in 60 countries now. So spread the word, and we're hoping to have the Corner Gas animated available outside Canada soon as well. So follow me on social media or whatever, and or here. I'll be shouting it loud and lots whenever we know. Whenever we have our answers. Also, if you did like this video too, by the way, back to the other groovy angle, give it a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button down there. And, like I said, tell your friends, subscribe. If you have any questions or thoughts or notes, you can always email us here too at TheButtpod@gmail.com. Drop us an email if you so choose, if that's your method of communicating. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you think it's one of the things I'm thinking of doing here on this channel is doing themes. And so instead of just random questions about anything, doing a live stream that has a theme to it, maybe a sports theme, maybe a classic television theme thing, maybe music, Animals. I don't know. Just give us a starting point as a to talk about. I might think of doing themes. So if you think that's a good idea, let me know in the comments below what kind of themes you might like. And also if you like live streams by comedians, one of my favorite comedians, Dennis Regan. I don't know him personally, really. I did one show with him one time in New York City years ago, but he's a very funny guy, Dennis Regan. He has a YouTube channel called That Darn Dennis, and I follow him. I subscribe to him on YouTube, but I saw that he's going live tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific because he lives in California, and he's always worth checking out. That's a funny dude, Dennis Regan. That Darn Dennis. Just look for That Darn Dennis on YouTube. All right. Time for a couple more questions. We have 5 minutes before I gotta get out of here. Wade Murray says, any stand-up tips? Sure, I can give you a couple. I think there are really only a couple to give. There's maybe more than a couple to give. But I always say anything that can be taught about stand-up comedy, I think can be taught in about 5 minutes. And the rest, you have to learn by doing. I don't mean to kneecap anybody out there who has a 12-week stand-up comedy course that they're charging people for. And this is just my dopey opinion. I might be the dumbest guy in town. So who knows? But my thinking is, do what you legitimately think is funny, because audiences are very sensitive to what's authentic. They know for the most part when they're being put on, and one of the best ways to connect with them and let them know you're being authentic is to do what you legitimately find funny yourself. Now, sometimes that's not going to click with every audience. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. The better you will be able to, the better you will get at bridging your thoughts and putting them in the heads of the audience. But at the core, you have to legitimately find what you're saying or doing to be funny yourself, or else it's all a sham and people will see through it. So be true to yourself. If you're taking the microphone out of the stand, move it to the side. Don't leave the microphone stand sitting in front of you. Try to communicate in as few words as possible. What do they say? Brevity is the essence of wit, or something like that. That a lot can be said for that. Although if you're being brief, you probably shouldn't say a lot about it. That's why that sentence is so short. The classic old saying became a classic because it's very brief. In and of itself, it's self-proving. Brevity is the essence of wit. Is that what it is? Anyway, don't say more than you have to, says the guy who's been yammering incessantly on his video pod here for 2 minutes. Hey, for 42 minutes. Do you need to go out right now? I'm only going to be like 2.5 minutes more. Look at him. I know he doesn't have to pee. He peed just before we went live here. All right. Hang tight, buddy. I'm going to answer one more question. Get Lauren Cardinal on the podcast. Somebody says yes. I'm going to be doing that for sure. Well, I'll be extending the offer for sure. So Jeff Farrell asked, so this is a good question to end on because it's kind of a plug. If you're in the Toronto area, Jeff asked, do you know what format your live Toronto show will be in? Live streaming, download, pay-per-view, only in Canada or elsewhere? We don't know yet. So here's what Jeff's referencing. June 21st, if you're in Toronto or the Toronto area, if you can get yourself to Toronto, June 21st, I'm producing my very first live stand-up comedy special. It's not going to be live. We'll be recording. I'll be live in front of an audience, but it's not being beamed or streamed live anywhere. But we're shooting my very first self-produced stand-up comedy special at the Danforth Music Hall. The links are on my site. If you go to brentbutt.com, you can find the link to the tickets. Just ticketmaster.ca, or like I said, the link at my site. So I hope to see you out there. I've always wanted to play the Danforth Music Hall, and I thought, man, if I ever shot a special, that's where I would do it, because it's such a cool it's a classic live performance venue in Toronto. And then out of the blue, one day, Live Nation, concerts promotion company, Live Nation called my agent and said, we want to present Brent at the Danforth Music Hall. So I thought, well, All right, universe. I'll record a special at the Danforth Music Hall. So if you're in Toronto or the area, spread the word, tell your friends too, if you know people that are there. June 21st at the Danforth Music Hall. Tickets available through ticketmaster.ca or my website, brentbutt.com. All right, I guess that's it. I got to wrap up and get ready to take off. Thanks again for dropping in. And if you are new here, feel free to subscribe. Spread the word. Tell your friends about the ButtPod podcast and the ButtPod YouTube video channel here. The subscriber base has been growing really quickly lately. We're over 6,000 subscribers now. I'm hoping to get. My goal has always been 15,000 by the end of the year. It was that at the end of last year. That was my goal, and it didn't happen. But yeah. So see, that proves I set the timer. There it is. So spread the word, tell your friends about the ButtPod. If you are outside of Canada, try Amazon Prime to see if you can watch Corner Gas, the original 107 episodes, and the movie. And like I said, we're working to get Corner Gas animated available outside Canada as well. Season 2, for those of you in Canada, Season 2 of Corner Gas animated, we're going to be announcing when that is premiering very soon. We're making plans as we speak now I know when it's premiering, but I can't say. The network has to say first. So, but we're planning right now the strategy and how we're going to reveal that information. So I guess that's it. Is there anything else that we need to discuss before we go? I don't think so. That's it. Thanks for checking out this live stream. We'll be doing it again soon in the not too distant future. So we'll see you then. See you next stream.